Have you ever had such an unruly patient that you just want to kick him out? Hey guys, welcome to Nurse Talk, the podcast where we talk all things nursing. I'm your host, Mia, and today we're going to be going over a Reddit thread called Was There Ever a Time a Manager or Doctor Kicked a Patient Off of Your Unit? There are 189 comments, so let's get into it. Okay, first comment. Young man threatened to kill a nurse. Doctor said, nope, time for you to go. He needed some type of cardiac surgery. Shot up too much drugs and messed up his heart. Someone commented, I wish we had docs with balls like that. HIV positive patient was spitting mucus on the staff. After he was transferred, we discovered he had covered the entire wall behind the privacy curtain with mucus. Okay, next comment. We had a patient who severely assaulted several staff members. He broke a tech's nose and threatened to harm other patients. Of course, police were involved. The doctor decided he was medically stable. In the middle of the night, he was discharged, arrested, and taken into custody. Guess who had the pleasure of being the charge nurse? The family thought we treated him unfairly. They said we should have tried to de-escalate his behavior instead of calling 911. Really? Next comment. Had a guy that wasn't allowed in our hospital at all. He was inappropriate with a tech when his dad was a patient and he was visiting. That escalated to him stalking her outside of work. Not only was he trespassed from visiting the first time because she had a restraining order on him, he couldn't even be a patient at the hospital. Okay, next comment. Patient was live streaming all day and night complaining about care. What? Said the hospital name, address, and her room number. Said to come assault the staff. Lost her phone for rest of the time there, paraplegic, and is watched closely if she ever chooses to come back. Only admitted for serious things now, no BS admissions for her. Can you imagine taking care of someone and they are asking other people to come and kill you? Jeez. Okay, next comment. 35-year-old lady who looked 50. Uh-oh. Admitted for septic arthritis and was waiting for debridement surgery and IV antibiotics. She somehow broke through the sharps container and used old syringes from like 15 patients before her.
Ew.
To inject crushed dilaudid pills directly into her IV bag. They realized because the IV site looked really bad and the bag of saline had distinct orange hue. Craziest thing ever. The surgeon told her, nope, not treating you, absolutely no compliance, disaster waiting to happen, sent her right back with oral antibiotics. Dang, oh my God. Right when you said 35 looking 50, I knew it was going to be something about some drugs. Someone commented, holy crap, I had an old lady OD in the bathroom once while also smoking a cigarette. The smell is why we checked on her. When we found her, she had a 5 ml saline flush hooked up to her IV. When she heard someone would be in trouble for leaving a flush in her room, she told the truth. She pulled it from the sharps bin with her skinny ass fingers. What? Wow. Someone commented, is it weird that I'm oddly proud of her for telling the truth instead of someone else getting in trouble? I was actually kind of surprised too. Okay, next one. Homeless lady rude to everyone. Threatening everyone that she would report us, always complaining of something new that postponed discharge. We finally had enough and gave her a hotel voucher and had security escort her out. Woman in her 30s came to us for rehab to home. She was completely non-weight bearing. One nurse had a back injury from transferring her. Later that shift, we walked in and caught her walking. The weakness was faked. Oh my God. Okay, next one. Guy tried to steal a body from the morgue. Oh my God. Okay. Frequent flyer psych patient came in a lot with chief complaints of swallowing a battery. Most of the time it was BS, but I think he actually did once. I guess he put on some official looking work attire and went down to the morgue. It was posted in our department that he was only allowed on the hospital premises if he was seeking care. The last time I saw him, his medical screening exam basically consisted of the doctor telling him to get the hell out. Whew. Someone commented, my jaw dropped. What the hell? I agree. Okay, next one. Patient took a poop on the bed on purpose. Like, took off his pants, squatted, and took a poop on the bed. He was sharing a room with 7 patients. Someone commented, had a guy who would do this if we didn't do what he wanted right away. Like, make eye contact and do it. Eventually, he learned when a traveler made his dumb, you know what, sit in it during report. He decided to poop on the floor after that. What is wrong with people? Okay, next one. I work inpatient rehab, so they agree to do 3 hours of therapy a day before they come here, and they have discharged people early for refusing therapy. I've only seen one person basically thrown out. He was out of control behaviorally, screaming and cussing at everyone, even the poor kitchen tech who dropped off his breakfast, fired the entire day shift by 9 o'clock. Got sent to the ER for placement when he threw his breakfast at our director. And got moved around 2 floors and transferred to a different facility by the end of the day. Wow. He probably didn't know it was the director, but the fact that it was the director is probably the only reason that that even happened. But anyway, next. Had a patient come in with blood in his stool. Patient was a little weird and things weren't quite adding up. When he went down for his colonoscopy, his nurse snooped in his room and found a couple of syringes with blood in his bag. She notified the doctor. He called down and immediately canceled the procedure. Thankfully, they hadn't started. Patient got back to the room and doctor told him to get the hell out of the hospital. Wow. Someone commented, oh my God, my old hospital had someone that did similar. Had a PICC line for some supposed illness and was throwing up blood, and no one could figure out why, especially since her hemoglobin was stable and no bleeds were found. Turned out she was taking syringes out of the trash, usually with waste blood from labs, but sometimes drew it herself and was swallowing it and making herself throw up. They figured it out when she got a CLABSI with an odd bacteria. And then a nurse found syringes in her bag, PICC removed and booted. Didn't even know her real name because she'd given a fake one, and insurance wasn't being billed because she'd given some sob story about an ex-boyfriend stalker. Oh my God. Sheesh. That was elaborate. I wonder what her end goal was. Okay, next comment. Nope, they can verbally and physically abuse us all they want, and when they need to come back, the door is always wide open. That's how I feel. That's how I feel like my hospital deals with such things, but... Next comment. Patient got caught having sex with her partner in the room. She was super embarrassed and basically medically stable, so the medical team discharged her shortly after. She walked around the whole unit on speakerphone yelling that they were lying, and she wasn't. Well, I don't blame her. That kind of thing would be very embarrassing. Okay, next one. Homeless amputee, wheelchair bound, refused all cares, only wanted snacks and pain meds. Threw a urinal at staff.
I heard they throw balloons full of pee.
Hospitalist walked in, told him if he's going to refuse care and act like a douchebag, it was time for him to go, and discharged him. Yeah! Okay, next comment. Ew. HIV positive patient was masturbating with his door wide open on top of his sheets, uncovered. Student nurse found him and he just continued. No apologies or anything. I immediately told the doctor and she threw him straight out. He was homeless, I think, was a readmission, was discharged the night before, but someone called him an ambulance the next morning when he was found unconscious on the street. To my knowledge, there was nothing wrong with him. The doctor said he was asleep. I sleep for hours every night and I don't need an ambulance for it.
Bye.
Okay, next one. Dude had been DC'd for 3 days. The manager finally had the cops remove him. It shouldn't take 3 days. If someone says, I'm not leaving, you get security. Okay, next comment. Bragging about grooming 16-year-old girls, being very inappropriate with my new grad who looked 12 but was 19. Called the AOD to see if it was reportable. Apparently no. But I told the attending and she kicked his ass out and it was glorious. Okay, someone commented to that and said, we had a long-term male patient, obese, smelly, chronic choler, and incontinent at times. It took 4 to 5 staff members to roll and hold him for cares. One day I asked why he was wearing an ankle bracelet. He had a heart attack in jail and was recovering from heart surgery. I was told he molested young boys he taught while being a Boy Scout leader. I checked online public records and read he was sentenced to life in prison, which is very rare unless the abuse is so gross it warrants life to prevent additional harm. I hated touching him even with 2 pairs of gloves on. Someone commented to that and said, we had a guy who was constantly at our facility with an ankle monitor, was a registered offender with multiple rapes. Dude coded probably 5 times and we always got him back. Heard a rumor once that he started to decline really bad and started confessing his sins before he was gonna die. Apparently he told an RT he had molested a bunch of kids. I was told the rumors that the RT spit the nastiest loogie possible in the dude's nebulizer. So someone commented to that and said, yes, so terrible. Discharge straight to hell. I recall this one other child abuser patient who we had to keep for over a year because he needed to go to a nursing home for alcohol-induced dementia. He didn't have a bracelet, but there were some techs who looked up his public record because we were curious if he had any criminal history. He was really violent at first and kept trying to leave, so he had to be with a 1-to-1 sitter. I was assigned to him one day, and charge tried to fairly rotate all nurses and CNAs on the floor and beyond because he was so crazy and threatening. Nobody wanted to sit with him after the first time. After already knowing his criminal history, I was so rude to him. He demanded that he be assigned to a different sitter. Love that. They never assigned me to him again. Heard he was finally placed over 2 hours away from where his family lived, which was fine because they never visited or called him at any point during his entire stay. Someone commented to that and said, I actually had one patient try to kill a Megan's Law patient due to bedside shift report. They were roommates. Ooh. Next one. Well, the best one was the guy that tried to hit a nurse. The ER doc snatched his badge off, spiked it on the floor, and tried to fist fight the guy. Security got involved. Guy fighting everyone got spiked off the glass waiting room ER doors, arrested. I love that the ER doctor got right in the middle of it. I would pay to see something like that. Someone commented and said, we had a similar situation. Was this by chance in a Wisconsin hospital ER? LOL. I know it wasn't, but the doctor was in his 60s and the patient looked like an Aquaman actor. Blood all over the floor from ripping out 2 IVs. He was running right towards me. All of a sudden, the doctor jumped up from his computer, tackled him, and pushed him into a room, but hit the sliding glass door first, then pushed him onto the bed. It took 5 of us to hold him still. Turned out he wasn't on drugs or alcohol, had no history of psych issues, so we ended up doing a spinal tap for meningitis. Returned positive. Oh my God. This guy was freaking infected and attacking people. The world is nuts. Life is weird. What the hell? Okay, next one. Blind amputee on dialysis who someone thought was appropriate for penile implant at some point in his life would masturbate anytime a female staff member was in the room. All of his doctors were males. No one bothered to tell any of the doctors or house supervisors until my first night on the unit when I was charged. When my nurse told me, I took him from her to manage him. I told him to stop, and he wasn't getting any more care until a male nurse came on shift and told the house supervisor. The house supervisor was an ass about it. You totally should be continually sexually harassed while providing care to his patient. It's your duty. I told the house supervisor if he wanted the man to have care so badly, he could either find a male nurse to take his care or he could do it himself. The nephrology MD rolled through about 4 hours later, and I asked if he knew about the man's behavior. He was appalled and went to talk to him immediately. Told him that if he didn't stop, he was discharged not only from the hospital, but also the dialysis unit in his practice immediately. When I came back that night, he was gone. Dude couldn't help himself. Oh my God, I wonder if that's some type of illness. You can't stop masturbating even if your life depends on it? Oh my God. Next one. I forgot the context of the situation, but this one A&O times 4 patient was so unruly and ridiculous, refusing everything, screaming at the staff, refusing to leave, and just causing chaos on the unit. It was so bad that the surgical resident came to the unit and screamed at him saying, "This isn't Burger King and you can't have it your way." Then stormed off the unit. The patient left AMA shortly after that. One of the funniest experiences I've seen yet. Okay, next one. A frequent flyer who had burned bridges on every other unit. We had her for 6 months, just doing dressing changes that home care could do, but she was incredibly resistant to walking. She is extremely obese and only ever pivoted to the commode, refusing to work with PT. One day, she had a friend and his kids come by for a pizza party. Her nurse found her dancing with the kids in her room with a walker. Discharge papers were started immediately. She bounced back to the ER where she sat for 9 days. No docs would admit her. And then the director also told her, "No, you can't await placement here." Oh my God, can you imagine being that lazy that you would rather just waste your life withering away in the hospital? Oh my God. Anyway, next one. Patient that was verbally abusive to one of our medical assistants. He yelled at her because she didn't say doctor when she called his name from our waiting room. He was not a medical professional, he was a professor. He then yelled at her for having an accent. She was from South America, while he obviously had a Middle Eastern accent. Our surgeon came out of his office when he heard the ruckus and told him to get out of our practice because he wouldn't treat people with disrespect and he wouldn't leave yelling at the doctor. So we had to call the police and have him removed. He was dismissed as a patient that day. Okay, next one. Patient ripped out IV and attempted to throw blood on the tech. We managed to confine them in a private room until security finally came. That day, I learned the major city has a jail-style holding cell. Charges were pressed. Love that. Okay, last one. MD cut off the pain meds. Guy had his alarm set to go off every time, even waking him up for morphine. Of course, nurses had to be the ones to tell him the morphine was discontinued. He got nasty. He was escorted out by security and local PD. People do not play about their pain meds. These stories are horrible, but I love hearing about the patients that actually get kicked out. It's glorious. All right, guys, that'll be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you next Tuesday. Bye.